Well, thank you so much, Natalia. This is my first time giving a talk on Second Life, and I'm really honored that so many people came. I think it's really, really cool. One amazing thing is that I started this journey with Jamie and Marla right here on Second Life at a setting just like this. So it was a little over a year ago now, and really glad to have come full circle. So I'll get right down to it. Starting with where I was in the past, this was about a year and a half ago. Um, I met Marla and Jamie, and after hearing them speak here, I bought their app and their book, and soon enough, I began to discover just how much power there was in acknowledging specifically and often my feelings. And so I have that image of feelings behind me because it's just feelings have been um, a huge thing for me. So, I've always been a deep feeler and I'm very sensitive, but I've often been criticized and shunned for this. And growing up in my family, they would call me oversensitive and chastise me for becoming hurt so much or upset over what they considered small things. And so I learned to stuff my feelings and, as is commonly said, or hide just how deeply I was impacted. So when I met Jamie and Marla, I was in a place where I knew something needed to change, and I was hungry to step out and try something, anything. I felt in a rut, so to speak, and I was 25 years old, and I'd still never had a boyfriend, ever. I hadn't been on a date. My health was seriously struggling, and I didn't see any hope of getting better. I didn't have a degree. I didn't desire to pursue one or any particular career, and my faith had been turned upside down. So I didn't have that community or religious law to align myself to. Um, Sorry, let me just take a breath. I felt like so much was up to me, and so few people had the answer of how I could get where I ultimately wanted to be, which was a place of just being content and free and like living out life and not feeling stuck. So I wanted a life that I'd chosen and wasn't chosen for me. A life of love and understanding and adventure and giving back and ultimately peace. I wanted to be in a place where I could give back and was more healthy in myself. Okay, so this is what happened. I started working with Jamie and Marla, going through their forgiveness letter process, and I had frequent Skype meetings with them and became like a serious client. Um, and I've always found that sharing and writing out my struggles and feelings and emotions have brought me so much release and relief. And this was that at its full potential. It was really amazing. And so now I'm 26, and like I said, up until last year, I'd never had a boyfriend or been on a date, and no guy had asked me to dance or anything like that. I wasn't even looking. I wasn't even looking, um, for anything beyond just a crush. I kind of had like a sign in front of me that was like, no admittance, I guess, um, saying no thank you. And it must have really worked. So while some of this was a good thing, it's kept me from getting in a relationship too soon, maybe, or doing it because it was the in thing. A lot of me felt like I wasn't worthy of love, I wasn't attractive, I was too weird for anybody. And so Jimmy and Marley had me write a letter to men specifically and to relationships. And literally within a month, uh, a lot of it started to happen, like within a month. And so within the course of 4 to 5 months, though, three guys came into my life. Each of them attracted to me, and I was attracted to them. And so it did get hectic for sure. Like I didn't realize I could love so many people. I went from loving no one, no relationship, to like all these, three different guys. And in the same time period, I also decided to leave my job that wasn't fulfilling and start pursuing um, a community online and in person with people who were more spiritual. And I was going to go out and join a band in California, do different things like that because I write songs. Um, so I was just making big changes. Where I am now is that, I had these three different guys, and eventually everything settled out. and two different doors closed and one. And it actually happened within a single week. It was really kind of dramatic, but that's how change happens sometimes. And so now I'm living in Ohio with this one guy. The door open, and he matches like 95% of the stream guy list that Marla and Jamie had me write. And there have been ups and downs, but far more ups than downs. And I can honestly say that I've had the most happiest moments of my life in this relationship. I mean, there's just something beautiful about sharing life with someone. And so I've had to write a few forgiveness letters to my partner already, and I had to write one to sex and to life itself. A lot of things from my upbringing had kind of limited me or confused me, and so writing the letters just helped me find, my own feelings. So I faced the biggest challenges in this past year, but also my biggest hopes and dreams are starting to seem like a reality. And right at this moment, um, my guy and I are kind of in a tough spot, but you know what? We're talking out, we're using feelings, and we're learning to recognize how if you hurt someone, it's not necessarily your fault, but you can still be sorry because to them it hurt. And you can try to change. And these are all things I learned from Passion Provokers and Jamie and Marla. And they make coexisting and thriving and getting through and up a real and tangible destination. So here I am. And I know that wherever I'll be tomorrow, wherever I'll be in the next month, in the next year, I have the tools to make it through and to really get it. And I owe so much to this little wheel on the floor and to Passion Provokers and to Second Life and this kind of community. And I'm just here to say it's the real deal, and it'll make a real change in your life, and it'll help you cope with any change in your life that comes your way. So thank you guys so much for coming. Um, I am open to continue discussion or whatever's next, but that's basically what I had to say, and just blessed to have you here. Thank you. Yeah, I am in a happy relationship now. Like I said, we're having our struggles, but I've been happier than I've ever been. It's been really really cool, and we really have one of those unspeakable connections and chemistries that's just brought me a lot of fulfillment and a lot of getting to know myself while getting to know somebody else. Thank you. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, so the letters are basically Jamie and Marla have come up with a format for you to write a letter to a person or an institution or a feeling or anything. And you write a letter of forgiveness based on the format they give you, and then you have a letter you write back to yourself from that person, saying the things that you need to hear. And so it's really just showing that, yeah. So Barbie has that format. It's really just showing yourself that you get to make the choice to forgive, that you're in control. Even if the other person's not ready to ask for it, you can still give it, and you can still find the healing in yourself. And in answer to Gerald's question, I definitely feel more in control now. Um, Before, like, I really did feel stuck in a rut and I had nowhere to go, but honestly, whenever I tell Jamie and Marla about my problems, they just give me forgiveness letters to write first thing. And it's just this really, really powerful tool that gets you to work through, what is keeping you stuck in an emotion, in a situation, and to get to the other side. Yeah. Okay. So if you want to, let me try to think of how many forgiveness letters I've written. Um, I've written at least, honestly, probably 13. So yeah, it's a, it's, intensive work, but it's worth it. Yeah. 13 have transformed my life. It's true. I do. I do. I have a forgiveness letter I could share. Let me see. I might actually have it on my phone or part of one. Is that something I could do here?
Yes, definitely, of course.
Okay, cool. All right. Let's see what I've got here. All right. I have a letter I wrote recently, and this is a pretty intense one, so you guys might want to buckle your seatbelts. But it's the letter to life, straight up. And I was in a pretty hard place about 2 weeks ago, and so Jamie and Marla had me write a letter to life. I think I might have just seen that one of them logged on, actually. Uh, yeah.
Yes, Marla is right here now.
Oh, perfect. Yay. Okay. So, let me go ahead, bring this up. Okay. All right, everybody ready? It's okay, Marla. I'm glad you're here now. I'm just about to share a forgiveness letter to life. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So here we go. Dear life, what I'd miss about you if you were gone is the experience and the adventure and the surprise. I'd miss the delights of happy days, the sun shining on my face, everything working out. I'd miss how good food tastes and sex feels. I'd miss love and seeing other people happy, both because of what I've done or just being happy in general. I'd miss nature and the possibility of motherhood and all that holds. I'd miss not being able to help people transform. I'd miss learning and travel and art. I'd miss singing and poems and those people who can really see you without you having to explain. I'd miss family and friends, pretty things, and a cozy place to decorate and call home. I'd miss spontaneity. I'd miss discovery and being a person of good change and impact. I'd miss nature and little animals and flowers and trees and landscapes. I'd miss aha moments and breakthroughs, victories and climaxes. I'd miss cuddling and movies, dancing and lucid dreaming. I'd miss seeing people overcome and overcoming myself. What I wouldn't miss about you, life, is pain. Emotional pain that drives me into the depths of hell torment, abandonment, writhing, aloneness, evil winning, me failing, hurt, shame, guilt, slavery, corruption. I wouldn't miss being yelled at, disrespected, rejected, attacked. I wouldn't miss being weak, helpless, hopeless, confused, and without light. I wouldn't miss the forgetting of the meaning of life and how everything in the universe works. I wouldn't miss this darkness, this scrambling and the dark and the scum, and no one shows himself except in your mind or dreams. And who the hell are those? And I'm talking about like guides and stuff. I would miss solid reality being pushed as all there is and seemingly no way to disprove it, like the physical world. I wouldn't miss school or plutocracy, the rule of the rich, or greed or evil or rape or killing or war or battles or death or unfairness or cruelty or injustice. I wouldn't miss the lies, manipulations, cover-ups, and how I'm not given the gift of surviving without toil and suffering, much less thriving. wouldn't miss selfishness or hate or arrogance or negativity. I wouldn't miss innocence or anybody being abused. I wouldn't miss lies or the hurting of nature or money or work as a job and necessity. I wouldn't miss the poisoned food, poisoned water, poisoned bodies and minds. I wouldn't miss illness or corporate evil or look out for number one. I wouldn't miss any idiocracy or stupidity. I wouldn't miss debt or unbreathable air or paying for everything. I wouldn't miss wanting to die and longing for home. I wouldn't miss being unheard, misunderstood, unappreciated, or not legitimized. That being based on stupid or made up labels, too. I wouldn't miss the separation, the bad parenting, borders, blocks, hoops, and loops. I wouldn't miss how freedom is stifled and truth is hidden. I wouldn't miss misinformation, propaganda, bad media, our way or the highway religion, tests, labels, categories that work to separate or confine. I wouldn't miss limitation. I wouldn't miss the brain fog and the slowness of my current brain. I wouldn't miss self-harm or hurting others intentionally, but especially not intentionally. I wouldn't miss my triggers or frustrations. I wouldn't miss fibromyalgia. I wouldn't miss tiredness. I wouldn't miss insecurity, self-hatred, demons, curses, death wishes, and shunning. Oh God, there's so much I wouldn't miss. Pesticides, pollution, punishment, and on and on. When you birthed me into a bad society that tried to make me a mindless drone slave, I felt unlucky and abandoned and uncared for, not provided for. When you set me in a family of people who screamed and yelled and tried to make me less sensitive and ganged up on me, but also tried to use me as a pillar so that everything wouldn't fall apart, I felt scared, hurt, and helpless. When you fed me pesticides and poisons and let me get Lyme disease and mercury toxicity and fibromyalgia, I felt alone, betrayed, helpless, and scared, not cared for and abandoned. When you left me to battle self-hatred in a church that said I'm born evil, only to find out that they don't trust you enough to expand past your intuition, I felt cheated, lied to, used, hopeless, and tired. When you kept me pure and didn't bring me someone to help me, but instead someone to someone for me to help, I felt used, abused, uncared for, angry, and alone. When you showed when you shoved me into the school system and the work system, which feels like and is in some ways slavery, I felt so helpless and tired and undervalued, not empowered or grown, but stifled. I feel hurt because of everything you've dealt me. I choose to forgive you now, life, for the pain, poison, lies, stifling, hurt, burdens, and my death wish. I forgive you, life. I regret I never told you just how angry I am about the lack of support and empowerment. I guess I feel so ungrateful for what I do have. There's been no rest, though, and I'm very, very tired. What I appreciate about you is how you do turn out people who are good and help the world. And there are people who make it through to the end happy. It is possible. I appreciate the learning and all those things I listed at the beginning. I appreciate how you must be facilitating me living out my destiny, which I believe I really do want to do. I appreciate you putting up with all my negativity, ingratitude, and all those other lousy qualities and still bring me good things and hope. Life, I forgive you. I want to keep trying. Love, Jave. Woo! So that was the letter to life, and uh, yeah, it was pretty heavy, like I said, and you share your feelings afterwards, and um, yeah, you're welcome. I feel really empowered and at peace. Strangely enough, at peace. It's kind of like I got it off my chest, and almost excited about what's to come. So yeah, the letter back is a lot shorter, so I'll go ahead and read that now too. And this is from life to me. Dear Jave, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the situation I've offered you in this lifetime. It's filled with so much suffering and truly unnecessary pain and evil. I'm sorry for your family's circumstances, how you felt used, alone, and confused. I'm sorry for all the illness caused by all the poisons, pollutions, and evils, all caused by those putting profit before people. I'm sorry you've suffered such emotional turmoil and have felt uncared for and not provided for. I'm sorry you feel you must slave to survive. I'm sorry that you've been lied to, stifled, disempowered, and abused. I'm sorry for you not feeling you can know the truth, for the burden of forgetfulness, and the terrible fear of not being who you're meant to be. I'm sorry for your helplessness, due to my lack of help. I'm sorry for everything. I was wrong to put your beautiful light into so much darkness without more aid, reassurance, guidance, truth, comfort, and peace. I was wrong to subject your body to illness without telling you or providing you with a cure. I was wrong to birth you into dysfunction and the selfish, greedy, manipulative, hurtful hand of others. I was wrong to keep truth and reality as blurry what-ifs. If I could have, I would have brought you into a lifetime in a beautiful natural setting where you are with those who completely love you, nourish you, understand you, grow you, and empower you. I would have provided for you completely on every level, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and in every other way. If I could have, I would have kept you from disease and fear and unnecessary pains and struggles. I would have given you the book of life and truth as your very own right from the start. You would have had 100% confidence that those above have your back, and you'd be in full communication to know what to do and how. All would be, and there would be no disharmony. I will not do these things again as much as it is in my power, and for the highest good. Thank you for forgiving me and setting me free. I'm so proud of you for coming this far and giving more than 100% of yourself for the benefit of all. Hang on, you're so loved, cherished, supported, and safe. Fully life. And yeah, um, yeah, how do I feel now? It's really, I feel understanding somehow. I just feel this new understanding for life and even for the bad things we go through. Um, I kind of feel the bigger picture. Yeah, more aware. Again, I have an excited feeling of what's to come. Uh, I do feel more confident that my back is, someone's got my back. A lot of people. Yes. So, well, that was awesome. Thanks for suggesting that I share, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much. That was incredible. It's your letters are always um, immensely insightful as well as empowering, truly. So thank you for that.
Definitely.
So what are you learning, Jave? What are you learning to do when you have a crisis?
um, really, write those letters. Write those letters and work through my feelings.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which is, share with me your experience over the past year of doing that. What has it changed or shifted for you?
Yeah. I actually shared that whole section right before you guys showed up.
Good, good,
So
good.
yeah, yeah. But it really has come from a place of being stuck in a rut to feeling like I'm enabled and empowered, and that
Yeah,
I can take a hold of my feelings instead of like being confused by them. I can really face them.
yeah. Yeah, and that's the whole idea of the letters allows us to um, become aware of our blind spots. Because, for me, so many times I will sit down to write a letter. I'll start writing it, and I'll have this amazing awakening to what's really underlying, instead of being stuck in the hurt or the anger or the blame, particularly the blame or not taking personal accountability. I'm able to observe better myself and my unconscious and how it has driven me. And so choosing awareness by writing the letters allows me more awareness of my unconscious. It's a constant growing. You know, we used to use the analogy of the onion and the layers of the onion, which is a really good one. But a better analogy is even the opening of a peony. If you've seen a peony, it's got this tight little bulb before it starts to open, and it just slowly opens leaf or petal by petal by petal. And so this is for me, I feel like I continue to open and grow and shift towards, deeper love of myself and worthiness of myself, as well as for other people. And that empathy allows me to, to again continue to keep growing. Because then I don't look at someone and say, oh, they hurt me on purpose, or, you know, what a jerk, or whatever. I might say that initially, but then say, wait a minute, step back. Why does this hurt so much? And usually, it hurts so much because it was something from way back, usually my childhood.
I think that's really what it is. It's a stepping back. And it allows you to see the bigger picture and the root of the problem.
Exactly.
Okay. Are there any questions for Jave? Anybody have something come up they want to share? Okay. We have a quiet group. Okay, here we go. Do you find that what you focus on affects how you feel?
Yeah, that's a huge one. It really, really does. For me especially, I am someone who tends to ruminate and ruminate and ruminate. And, you know, my mind makes up all kinds of scenarios. And so something the letters help me to do is get it out, you know, get it out and process it and not have to keep ruminating. Something you do with the letters is you burn them when you're done, and it just kind of like lets it, it's a good release. So yeah, what you focus on definitely affects how you feel.
Yeah, and the burning, what's cool about the burning is that it's kind of like the analogy of out of the ashes rises the phoenix, or ashes to ashes, dust to dust, and it's gone. Or, beauty comes from ashes. And so that's the idea with the burning, is that you watch it being released into the atmosphere. And those ashes, whether they're put into a garden to grow something beautiful from them, or they are put into even the trash or whatever that is, those ashes get into the water system eventually, which flows like the river or whatever, flows into the ocean, and those things, those pains and those hurts are as far away from us, the depths of the ocean, that they can possibly be, and they don't have to seize our hearts like they used to. It doesn't have the pain. We don't agree with forgive and forget. We agree that it's forgive and remember. The pain will diminish with time, and then you can share your story in forgiving and remembering, and offer hope to other people. And that's what you've done here today. Is I absolutely offering hope to me and to everybody here, that you can release it. It doesn't have to control you. You can live a life of passion and excitement and movement forward, no matter what's going on.
You know, focus is an important issue. It's vital what we choose to focus on. In about 1999, I learned the skill about bouncing my eyes off of graphic images, whether they be violent or sexual things. And so, because oftentimes, if we're not being conscious of what we're thinking about, the overwhelming images in our culture, in our world today, be they from television or just walking down the street with billboards or whatever is coming up in front of you, you don't have to dwell on that, whatever it is, and you can be free to choose how you feel when you are conscious about what it is that you are focusing on. This is a skill that takes a lot of practice, a lot of discipline. And, most of us just have never learned how to practice this discipline. It is literally how it is that we can choose how to feel. Interesting little story. We're late today because we moved this week. Okay, the quick story is, 2 weeks ago, Marla said that she, after her brain surgery that most of you, I think, heard about last week, about a month after, she said, I want to live on the 4th floor instead of the 2nd floor of our building, and I want to have the view to the north. Well, last Thursday, a week and a half ago now, this apartment became available, and we decided to move. And in the move, I lost our keys to our mailbox and our car. And of course, it took us 3 days to find them because, well, I left them in my pocket and crumpled them up in my pants in the closet underneath all the stuff we were moving. And Marla finally found them right in time to get the mail for Monday morning. And we had a lot of important mail coming, so we were stressed out, having to pay the $50 for the keys and have the manager get the keys and all that. And when she found them, of course, she was, I felt silly and disappointed in myself for losing the keys. And Marla did a great job of not being too angry at me about that. And then she found them and she was angry. She said, why? You didn't look in your pants? You could have looked in your pants. And I saw Marla choose to be grateful instead of angry. That little skill, that ability to choose, came from years and years of practicing forgiveness and becoming fully conscious of what it is that's happening right now. It's not an easy thing. It's just really worth doing this forgiveness work. And the format that we've given everybody, I think everybody here has had it. If not, let us know. We'll give you the format of the letters that Jave
And
read.
they did post the link to our book,
Yes.
which has the
Right.
format inside of it.
And the book is, it's $5 on $4.99 on Kindle. We're not making any money on this. It's not like we're getting rich here.
The name of the book is How Men Make Women Crazy and Vice Versa. Just so y'all know that we all can make each other crazy. It's not just women and it's not just men.
So yes, what Jave has shared with us today is such an amazing transformation from where she was, well, even just a few months ago. Would you agree, Jave?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen this process continues to just push me forward at a really big pace of change in a good way.
Yeah, powerfully, giving you not only the emotional strength, as I've observed you, but also allowed you to do things in your life that you may never have done.
Yeah, for sure, especially in the realm of relationships.
Okay, there was a couple of, Musa had a question earlier. It was,
Will you continue to write the letters?
will you continue to write the letters?
And then her next question is, do you think that only letters made your transformation or maybe something else also? So both of those, they kind of go together.
Yeah. I will definitely continue to write letters like my whole life. And of course, it's not only the letters that made the transformation. I mean, I had a lot of good talks with Jamie and Marla, and I had other people in my life. Um, but I think the big thing is processing and not stuffing and facing your feelings and not, not putting them in a bottle. And that's going to be a lifelong process for sure.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know how many of you have seen the movie with Brad Pitt, World War Z. It's a zombie movie, but I always tell people that if they're opposed to zombie movies, it's actually an illness that causes people to be a certain way. They don't die and come back to life, if that matters to anybody. But anyway, in that movie, Brad Pitt, he has a lot of experience in war type situations or these kinds of situations, and they're in he and his family end up in an apartment with a Hispanic family, and the Hispanic family, the father says, "Well, we're going to stay put," and Brad Pitt's character says, "In my experience, the people that move live," and he says, "Movement is life." Movement is life. And that's such an important concept because that's what we need to be doing with our feelings. If we are keeping our feelings inside of us and not expressing them healthfully, whether that's in a letter format just with ourselves, or we're resharing that with someone we trust, or we're actually sharing how we're feeling with people that are we're close to, which is very, very powerful for relationship. Instead of telling a story, you share a feeling. If we're doing that, we're moving the feelings out of our body. We can't just ignore them and stuff them under the carpet because they will come out in one way or the other. And so it's really important. Yeah, just like sharks, they die when they don't move. That's exactly, and those feelings go to die inside of us and cause us to slowly die. And there's two sides to this coin. They either create depression within us, which is a slow death, or rage, being rageful and angry about everything, which is also a slow death. It could be a fast death, but depression can cause, the mind-body link is depression is linked to cancer and chronic fatigue and those different kinds of things, because your body gets the message that you want to die, it's not really worth living. So it causes fibromyalgia and those kinds of things. When you then, and that's kind of anger turned inward is depression, anger turned outward is rage, and rage is associated with heart disease and different heart expressions. Heart attacks are related to that. So it's important to get the feelings out. That's what I'm trying to say. In a good way.
In a good way, yeah. And Jai is asking about old tears.
Maybe old fears. Or
old fears.
Is it old fears or old tears? Did I read it wrong? Tears. Yes. Yeah.
Well, fears would make sense too, right?
Well, do you want to share, Jai, or you want?
Okay, I can try.
Okay, yeah, try.
Both of us now are on the mic, so I know it'll get confusing for the video. But anyway, so what I understand, what you shared quite a while ago, maybe a year or longer, is that when we cry about things that happened, there's like this stringer that goes back to the original impact of what happened to us. So when we cry from that place, we are actually releasing tears that are toxic. They've tested different tears that are out of joy have a different chemical makeup. Tears from frustration have a different chemical. Tears from sadness, especially old sadness, they need to go. They need to be released. And it's a real good thing if we can allow ourselves to cry and just let go of those toxic old emotions, experiences, memories, and tears.
Exactly. And it's interesting to add to that a little bit. Tears, they did a study on tears from people who were cutting an onion, tears from people who were watching a sad movie, and then tears from people experiencing emotional pain. And you're right, Jai, the chemical makeup, the tears from the onions really had nothing but tear, saline and whatever. And then the tears from watching a sad movie had some toxins in them that the brain released. And then tears from an emotional pain were full of toxicity, and toxicity from the brain that can only be released through crying. And so if we have that stuff pent up in our brain, that toxicity, I'm sure that it causes a lot of different issues. I didn't even see Jamie cry. We've been married for 28 years, and I didn't see him cry for the first 10 years of our life, but more consistently of our relationship, more consistently 12 years into our marriage that he actually cried.
So yeah, so I learned not to cry, right? Big boys don't cry. This goes along with, things we learned from our parents, like shut up, I'll give you something to cry about, which means your feelings aren't important.
Starheart says, what about tears from being touched deeply by something? That would go in the category of the watching something, a movie that's more, has more of those feelings about it, in it.
Or just a tender experience, watching puppies being born, or
And Gerald, you would like to share something? That's okay. We're finished with the tear conversation.
Yeah.
We would love to hear what you have to share.
It's never too late to cry those tears, by the way. I just, one quick note about the tears, is that, when our daughter was 3, she's now 25, she got bit by a dog, and it was a really terrible experience. And I handled it. I got her away from the dog, and I told Marla to call the doctor, and drove 80 miles to the hospital and held her and took care of it. And I never cried until this year. So 22 years later, as I was writing out the experience for a book that hopefully will be published early next year, I just broke down and cried. And it was so relieving. It was like they were really waited, 22 years to come out. And so being in touch with your feelings is a vital piece. Okay, and so this is from
We have Gerald share.
Gerald, what would you like to share? Gerald? Okay, well, we're finishing up. Our time is about up today.
Gerald, you can speak in voice if you would like.
And then, here we go.
Hello.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay. No, you're good. Hi, Gerald.
Hi. This is going more back to the focus and back, really. There's two things I want to mention, but this is the main thing, really. This is from a book that I like to read. It's pretty relevant to life in that, really, but it's 100 years old, but I thought it'd be relevant to what we were discussing here. So here's just a quick paragraph from it. Here it is. There is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which in its original state permeates, penetrates, and fills the interspaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. Humans can form things in his thought, and by impressing his thought upon formless substance can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. In order to do this, must pass from the competitive to the creative mind. Otherwise, he cannot be in harmony with formless intelligence, which is always creative and never competitive in spirit.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. We truly are endowed with creative power. And it's true. This is what they're finding out in science. Just by observing something, it changes it. Because your bias and your perspective influence the energy around everything. And so what we choose to focus on, how we choose to focus our energy, is a co-creation of the reality that we experience every day. And therefore, we have found that forgiveness is the most powerful tool to allow for love, to drain the shame at the center of your wheel so that you can feel peace, power, and joy in any given situation. Every relationship can have the positive impact of your intentions, even if you do not speak.
You know, happiness researchers have found that the most important factor of being happy is forgiveness. That's pretty powerful. Oh, yeah, Gerald, about water. Absolutely, please.
Okay. Okay. I'm speaking again. Hi. Hi. Yes, there was a test that this doctor did. He's Japanese. His name, I completely forgot his name. Sorry about that. I'll try and figure that out. Anyway, he did a test. He was obsessed with water, and he wanted to see how. For yeah, I think so. Yes. That's it. Thank you. You already know about what I'm talking about. He wanted to test how water reacts to things and that. So he throws water from a spring, throws several ice cubes from it so you could see the molecules in it, and then just with a microscope looks at it, and it looked like cubes, like just normal ice cubes. And so for okay, so this time he had a monk pray to it, or well, pray the chi of love, or something along those lines, and that, and then did another with the same water, froze that one, looked at it on the microscope, and this time it looked like snowflakes, real actual snowflakes. And so he tested it with a bottle of water with the words "I hate you," and again tested it, and this time it was yellow, blocky, and very ugly. And they tested it with different fillings with just the labels on it, nothing touching it, just the same water from the same spring, and it produced different results based on the emotion that was written on it. And he came to the conclusion, if thoughts alone could do that to water, imagine what thoughts can do to our bodies.
Exactly, and it's a great point to end on. We are out of time, and we do want to honor everybody's time. We have 2 minutes left here. The power of your thoughts, your feelings are incredible. And isn't it important? The question I would leave you with, isn't it vital that you pay attention to what you're feeling so that when you communicate, you're communicating what you want to instead of what you've been left with by accident? Yep. Exactly. And so, Jave, thank you for your amazing sharing today. What a brilliant process. And how amazing is it that you continue to live and grow in a new way through this forgiveness every day.
Yes, thank you guys for having me do this, and for everyone who came. It's really been a really cool process and opportunity.